Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This evening I'm going to be doing yet another movie review for you all. This movie is a horror film from Australia, English language, released in the year 2023, directed by Josiah Allen and Indiana Bell, and this film is called You'll Never Find Me. So You'll Never Find Me is set in a lonely caravan park. In the United States it's called a trailer park, and it's raining very heavily. A storm has hit, and we have a man that's living inside one of these caravans that appears to be running away from something. He doesn't want to connect with the outside world, and he just wants to try and live in peace. But one evening, on this particular evening, he gets a knock on the door. He answers it, and it's a woman that has broken down and she needs help. So the man invites her into the caravan, says that she can stay there until the storm passes, but unfortunately the more that the evening progresses, the more complications arise because some hidden truths are about to come out. So how the night transpires is something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on You'll Never Find Me. I didn't really hold out too much hope for this film. Now it is an Australian horror film, and being the proud Australian that I am, I want to love every Australian movie, especially from my beloved genre. But unfortunately, in particular, the horror genre, when it comes to Australia, more often than not you're going to come across disappointment. Every now and then you might come across a gem, but they're few and far between. So when I saw the trailer to this movie, I thought it looked very enticing. It looked actually pretty good. But it wouldn't be the first time a really good trailer didn't translate into a very good film, and so I had my hesitations, I had skepticism, but I just wanted to make this movie at least watchable. I wanted to make it, maybe it's not the gem that I was hoping it would be, but at least something that I could actually feel as though it was worth the time and effort. But again, I had that skepticism based on being burnt numerous times in the past, and so what to expect I wasn't sure, but I just had a lot of hope. And after watching You'll Never Find Me, I will say that although this movie is not a gem, it is still very impressive, and I would highly recommend everyone go out there and see it, because this is a film that takes you back to the years of suspense. This is something that Alfred Hitchcock did very well, and this is something that masterful directors do, and that's a forgotten art these days. When it comes to horror in the modern era, it's about gore, jump scares, very, very lazy things. It seems to be an avenue of laziness for directors, the genre, but when the genre is done well, it can be very, very effective, and this is exactly where these directors go with this movie. They want to make it effective. It's a very minimalistic film, it's a very low budget movie, but what it does is very smart, and it actually makes a genuinely horrifying experience. It's because it uses a minimalistic approach to snowball into something. So we have that invisible character of curiosity, mystery. We have the invisible character of suspense, tension, and build-up, and everything just snowballs in a way where it starts off as a very little snowball at the start, but then comes across as an avalanche at the finish. And that's something that I really liked, is that it had a very solid plan, and it knew exactly what it wanted to do, and because it had the confidence and it knew its limitations, I never felt as though there was a wasted opportunity. I always felt as though I was on the edge of my seat from start to finish, and not knowing what to expect, and not knowing why I was feeling such dread. This is a film that slowly creeps up on you, the hairs on the back of your neck stand up, and this is something that Alfred Hitchcock did so well, and it shows that this is not a forgotten art, that there are directors out there who can actually produce this kind of thing if you try hard enough. And so the film has the sense of claustrophobia. The majority of the film takes place in a caravan. I thought the more the curiosity levels were raised, the more suffocating this presence was. There is what's behind this man in the caravan, what's with this woman that's just introduced to the life of this man in the caravan, the chemistry between the two of them, the conversations that the two of them have. I thought there were clues that you piece together, and each clue that you piece together, the setting is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And so what is going on? And you don't know who to trust, who's the bad guy, who's the good guy. Are there any bad guys, or are there any good guys? And so that level of whirlwind curiosity just builds a sense of vulnerability. And the vulnerability is intensified through the fantastic visuals. I thought it's a very dark and dreary film. It takes place in a storm, and I thought as though the camera work was very minimalistic. It doesn't move a lot, which creates that sense of fear and panic. There is something about this movie that just gives you that sense of anxiety, and that is through, as it's the cinematography that is very basic. The whole film has a basic approach, but that basic approach brings forward a lot of complexity. So the complexity, as I said, in the curiosity, in the unknown, and basically suspense and tension. You're on the edge of your seat, and nothing particularly interesting might be happening, but it's what's underneath the visuals that really keeps you on edge. And so it's an unnerving experience that I would highly recommend if you are a fan of the Alfred Hitchcock style of film. I thought the acting was phenomenal, the script was absolutely fantastic, and just to keep you on edge and keep your attention from start to finish with such a minimalistic approach, I thought takes a lot of skill, and this demonstrates the skill that these two directors have. So as the movie goes on, it starts to get more visual, and the more visual it gets, the more creepy it actually starts to become, because that is the conclusion and the reward for all the build-up that the movie produces. But after the movie has a reveal, then more tension will build up, and then there's another reveal which is the conclusion of that particular sense of build-up, and then more build-up will appear. And so the film never uses its aces too quickly. It always has that story that it wants to just snowball in a way that's not too fast, and it's just slowly uncovering this puzzle. And so once you work the puzzle out, I thought as though right at the end it does kick into overgear as far as craziness is concerned, but it never uses cheap tricks. It never uses that sense of gore. It's not a violent film. It's not a movie that has jump scares, but as I said, it's that slow burning tension. It's that slow burning wick that you know is coming to the dynamite, but you're not sure what the impact is going to be. And so that's everything that a great horror film should do, and that's something that this movie really does very, very well. And so if it sounds like the kind of thing I would recommend it, there is a subgenre thrown into this film that I'm not going to give away. It'd be very easy to give this film away, but in order to prevent myself from giving spoilers, once you see the subgenre, you'll know exactly what I mean. I thought that was a really welcome surprise. The movie is definitely not what it seems, so what you actually feel at the start of the movie is completely different to what you feel at the finish, and that's something that a movie should really produce. If I have issues with this film, they're very minute issues. Is that, as I said, it's a very minimalistic film, so it's not a brilliant movie, and there are elements that I thought were quite predictable, especially right in the last quarter. I thought there's a level of unpredictability, but the way the movie finishes, I thought I've seen that sort of thing before. I wish it kind of went down a different path, but pushing that aside, that's a very minute problem in what was just a movie that I would highly recommend for at least one viewing. As I said, it's not a movie that's going to blow you away. It's not a movie that's going to, really stand the test of time as being one of the greats, but it's certainly far from being bad. And if you are a fan of the way that Alfred Hitchcock made his films, as far as what you can't see, then You'll Never Find Me is definitely one I would recommend. So it's a very, very impressive Australian horror film. Go out there and see it. I'm going to give this film 3.5 stars. Alright guys, that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later.